Hi, I'm Nick Pichette, and this is my race and ethnicity final project. Today I'll be discussing Asian American stereotypes and the high school experience. Fair warning, all information gathered is from scholarly sources and a website, tolerance.org. A bibliography is provided at the end. Now, to further understand an Asian American stereotype, or the main one, is to understand the model minority. Well, what is the model minority stereotype, you might ask? According to tolerance.org, the model minority stereotype is the myth that characterizes Asian Americans as polite, law-abiding group who have achieved a higher level of success than the general population through some combination of innate talent and pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, immigrant striving. Who does it affect? As given by the definition, it affects Asian Americans and unfortunately finds its way in the high school settings. Now I'm going to be talking about effects and results. There are four main effects and results I will be discussing today. One is different treatment, the other discrimination, another psychological, and finally positive outlook. So first, different treatment. There's advanced perception, held above other students simply due to their background, and then higher expectations. Students are held to higher expectations laid out in the model, thus are expected of above average results. The biggest difference in treatment is the advanced perception. According to the study Why Class Matters Less for Asian American Academic Achievement by Jennifer Lee and Min Zhu, teachers tend to favor Asian American students because of their perception of the aforementioned model minority. The teachers view their students as higher achieving and better prepared. They also view the students as harder working and more attentive to schoolwork. Due to these perceptions, Asian American students are held to higher expectations. The same study had interviewed two students named Nam and Ophelia. Both had expressed that they were average students in middle school, and Ophelia mentioned that she wasn't even smart. Yet, both were placed in honor and AP classes without having to take a test. The second, discrimination. Discrimination has increased from white people as well as the criticism from white people. There's an increase in positive discrimination and can be compared to the athletic African American. And there's also intergroup discrimination and rejection. Speaking more on positive discrimination, it has become more prevalent and accepted. Accepted as in it's been given and not accepted as it is okay. Nevertheless, positive discrimination is discrimination that gives off a positive connotation but is still a microaggression and should not be tolerated. In another academic piece, Discrimination, the Model Minority Stereotype and Peer Relationships Across the High School Years by Taylor Thompson, Lisa Kiang, and Melissa Whitko, they specifically state an instance of joking with an Asian American about being good at math has high potential to be dismissed as harmless. They later state the teachers follow the same suit and have a higher tendency to express the same microaggressions, considering them positive. As a result of these quote-unquote positive expressions, there's an increase in-group rejection as well. There's a feeling of being accepted and holding value within a group of friends, but also not being completely accepted. The authors go to say that these students are put in a certain limbo. The next I'll be talking about is psychological. There is a lack for the need of psychological resources, such as guidance counselors. There's also stigmatic improvement, where a student needs to feel that they need to be a part of this stereotype or follow through with it. And also, if failed to rise to the model minority, there's a feeling of failure. Moreover, Asian American students feel they have to live up to the expectations of the model minority stereotype, where they have to succeed and be those students who are the valedictorians and the Harvard attendees. And the last of the three sources I stated in the beginning, this one called Dropout Prevention and the Model Minority Stereotype, Reflections from an Asian American High School Dropout by Jade Wexler and Nicole Pyle, surrounded itself around a study regarding an Asian American high school dropout, and the results are alarming. The student named Andy attended 2 high schools and gathered information on both. In the study for the first high school, he states under the category of behavior and social skills that the school made him feel that it was hard for him to communicate his problems and felt misunderstood. As for the second high school, under the category of providing academic support, he specifically states, "Nobody cared if I failed classes." One, there is a problem with the school just not caring, and two, the first high school had completely fallen into the model minority trap, and his high school sufferings came from this stereotype because he felt misunderstood, that he was truly struggling but couldn't voice it because of the impression of this model minority. Now, there is a positive effect, or seemingly positive effect or outlook. One of the positive effects that was seen in two of the studies was that some of the students felt compelled to live up to the stereotype, and that forced them to perform better. There's also some forms of positive outlook for Asian American students in their school relationships. Going back on one of the earlier studies I mentioned, the student Ophelia felt like she needed to be a part of this stereotype, and due to these advanced perceptions, something clicked, she states. She wanted to live up to the stereotypes and prove that she was hardworking, and ended up graduating with a 4.2 GPA and being accepted into a competitive program. Now, time for a conclusion. There are positives, but there are way more negatives, and it also exposes the education system and their lack for the care of Asian American students, and it proves that the model minority stereotype is a hindrance on the daily Asian American student. And finally, bibliography. Thank you. That was my project. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day.